Hello, Hamish here from mortgagesonline.co.nz. Today I wanted to talk to you about inflation, what it means. These are unprecedented times. There is a lot of money creation going on in New Zealand and all over the world. So I thought it was a good time to have a chat about inflation. So let's get started. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. I think people do get confused about what inflation means, as they seem to, people always think of everything as the price of something. Let me put that another way. To probably make this simple, imagine a world where you have this many round things, let's call them apples, right? And instead of money, let's say in this world you had some these square things, right? So many squares. Now, if we think about this here as being money, and we think about the swap here, at any given point, one of these will only ever be worth, it can't be worth more than 6 of these, right? And the chances are, if these are distributed amongst a couple of people, and so are these, chances are really that one of these is probably only ever going to be worth, say, 1 or 2, right? Let's just call it 1 or 2. It can't be much more than that. So let's say the swap between this and that is equivalent to 1 square. Now, if let's say we started to increase the supply of these squares, okay? So let's just do that, and I think instead of you having to watch me draw each one, which would be extremely painful, let me try and make it a bit simpler and just use the old copy and paste. So let's say we just increased the supply of this quite a bit, right? So now we have this many squares in this world, and the supply of this has increased marginally, but obviously you can create money faster than goods and services at times. Not always, but when you're allowed to. Okay, so now let's say you lived in a world that looked like this. Now suddenly when you do the swap, this old swap of one of these to one of those, it doesn't apply anymore because there's quite a bit of these now, right? So if I was going to swap you one of these, I'm going to need quite a few more of these because everyone's got one. So now, let's say it's gone up to something like, the maximum it could be will be what, quite a bit, but one of these now might be worth something like, say, 6 of these, okay? So that's gone, and now it's worth 6 of these. So let's just go back and see the difference. So before we only had that many, and that's what the swap looked like. And once you increase the supply of the squares, the swap is probably going to look like that. So that's what inflation is. Inflation is basically each one of these squares here losing its value in comparison to the swap for something else. So is inflation a good thing or a bad thing? What does it mean for the world? Well, it's an interesting topic. Look, inflation has been around for quite a while, actually, probably ever since I was around. We've had a bit of inflation in the world. So this stuff goes on all the time. It leads to certain types of behavior. It encourages certain types of behavior and it discourages other types of behavior. One of the things, of course, is that you don't want to hold on to the squares when you know that the value of that is going down. Hence why investing becomes so much more popular over the medium to long term in a world with a lot of inflation. So yeah, and I think hopefully that gives you some idea, and we'll probably cover this topic in more depth later on, but yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Hopefully that has been helpful.